Demand gen is Google's newest campaign type. Over the course of October 2023, demand gen should roll out in all Google Ads accounts. Maybe you already have it. The easiest way to describe demand gen is that it's not a cross-network campaign that's going to replace discovery. In this video, I will take you through the steps of creating a demand gen campaign. I also have a video where I dive deeper into the specifics of demand gen, so be sure to check that out as well. So as you can see, this is a brand new account and it's also in the new UI. Now you can still go to appearance and go to the previous design, but for the sake of this video, I will just keep it in the new UI because that's where we're headed anyways. Early 2024, all accounts should have the new UI available, and throughout the month of October, all accounts should have the demand gen campaign type available. So to start a new campaign, you can either click on new campaign right in the middle of the screen, or in the top left you can click create, where you can then choose between a campaign, an ad group if you already have a campaign, or a conversion action. So right now, let's go ahead and start a new campaign. Demand gen is available for almost every objective. If we open sales, demand gen is right there. If we open product and brand consideration, demand gen is there. For the sake of this video, let's go ahead and create a campaign without a goals guidance. Sometimes Google Ads terminology can be quite confusing. Earlier it said we were setting up this campaign without a goals guidance, but there goal meant campaign objective. Even without a goals guidance, you still have to choose a goal, but here a goal means your conversions. So let's see what happens if I choose form submissions. As of right now, I don't have any conversions set up in this account yet because the website I'm building this account for is not live yet. But instead of referring you to the conversions tab in the account, Google now sends you an email with setup instructions. After you've given your campaign a name, you're asked for a type of goal again, but this time it's between conversions, clicks, or conversion value. This goal is related to the bid strategy, which determines what the system will optimize for. So there's the campaign objective goal, there's the conversion goal, and there's the bidding goal. So let's say in this case, we stick with conversions, and indeed we want to track the conversion goal to submit lead forms. Now, if we choose clicks, we are simply asked to enter a daily budget, but when you choose conversions, you are asked for a target cost per action, or target CPA, or just CPA, as well as a daily budget. Now, this target CPA is actually optional. So if you don't set the CPA, the bid strategy of your campaign will just be maximize conversions. If you set a CPA, your bid strategy will be target CPA. So for now, just to keep the setup simple, let's just go for a daily budget and we will be on maximize conversions. In terms of budget recommendations, I would generally recommend you put at least 100 because demand gen, similar to performance max, is a cross-network campaign. So there's a lot of opportunity for your ads to be shown in different places. These types of campaign often struggle a little bit with micro budgets. Now you actually see a little banner here that says your budget is now set to an amount that can help improve your campaign's performance. But what happens if I do put 10? Based on the performance of your previous demand gen campaigns, that's funny because I don't have any previous demand gen campaigns, a budget of 100 is recommended to maximize campaign performance. Then next you have location and language setting. And something that is actually new in demand gen is that you can set this at ad group level. There's a little toggle here to enable it at campaign level, but it seems to be that Google's goal here is to just consolidate everything in one single campaign. On default, it's on all eligible devices, and why wouldn't you? That just makes your reach bigger. But you can also exclude certain devices, and something I often exclude when it's about conversions is TV screens. Why? Because if somebody is watching YouTube TV and they get an ad with a link to a website, they cannot click it. They are watching TV. If it's just about brand awareness or brand consideration, then TV screens can be great because those people who saw your video ad on their television can actually see your display or Gmail ad later. Now, I'm actually quite used to seeing more settings or more options during the campaign setup because that's where Google hides all the good stuff. But in this case, I don't see it. It's all very straightforward. So then it's time to go to our first ad group. How do you set up an audience in demand gen? So essentially, you create an audience that's filled with audiences or segments. For example, you can create a custom segment for people who search for any of these terms on Google, where you would add terms relevant to your business. Interest in detailed demographics, and completely new in demand gen is the lookalike segment, which will be a list of users based on the users on your seed list, your first party remarketing list. I talk more about lookalike segments in my About Demand Gen video, so be sure to check that out. Then all you have to do is save your audience, and it will be added to your campaign on ad group level. So you can use a different audience per ad group. You cannot add a second one, but we can switch to another one. Optimized targeting, I could make a whole separate video about. In general, I recommend against it, but I've also seen accounts that do well with it. Essentially, it just means that your ads are going to be shown to people outside of your targeted audiences. So let's say at this point we are happy with the ad group settings. Then it's time to go to a first ad. What makes Demand Gen different from other campaign types is that it's video and image ads in one. So you can see here, to create our first ad, we can choose between a video ad, a single image ad, or a carousel image ad. So let's start with a video ad. Now in this example tutorial, I'm going to make a campaign for Lego. Here it's asking you to search for a video or paste a URL from YouTube. You don't have to own this channel to choose a video to put in your campaign. Of course, it's highly recommended, but you don't have to. Prior to this video, I already clicked through some of the steps, so I have these videos right here. This is a very long video, and let's see what happens. Videos longer than 3 minutes don't usually perform as well as shorter videos, so I'm still allowed to use it. It's just Google is recommending against it. But we can add up to 5 videos, so let's add a shorter video as well. And if we remove the longer video, of course, the notification will disappear as well. And you also need to add a logo. Now you get 5 short headlines. That's also how Performance Max started, but that was recently upgraded to 15. But Demand Gen for now is starting with 5 headlines available, for the short ones at least. You can also add 5 long headlines. Now for these short headlines, you only get 40 characters. You get 90 for the long headlines and 90 for the description. So a long headline is basically a description. Only one headline is required, but also at least one long headline, one description. Now you can add a call to action text, which is always useful. There's quite a few options. Choose the one most appropriate, like book now, download, start now, sign up. You get the idea. Sitelinks are also available here. I'm not sure if any other extensions are going to be available for Demand Gen. Now let's go through the setup of a different type of ad. So let's go for the single image ad. Now you can add up to 20 images, but you need at least one. There are 3 different file sizes that are available, but the one image that is required needs to be either a landscape or a square. So you cannot start this campaign with just a portrait image, but you can add a portrait image in addition to either landscape or square. Again, adding a logo is required. For the text aspect, it's a little bit different again. You can see that here for this type of ad, single image ad, you cannot add long headlines. So let's see what happens under carousel image ad. Now here for media, instead of uploading images, it is asking you for cards. There is no question mark with more info available here, so let's just see what happens when we click add. So for one card, we are already going to add more information. Create a card, again, we need at least one image in landscape or square. Now, as you can see here, we can only add 3 images, but when you go back to the cards, you see that you can add up to 10 cards, so that's 3 images per card. Now, obviously, this campaign is a mess right now, and we wouldn't want this to go live. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to hit go to review. Now, of course, now it's giving me a warning that an ad has errors which will prevent this campaign from being published. Now, Google is doing this because it happened a lot in the past that people would publish campaigns that were not ready to run. So those campaigns would just sit there. Now it is actually preventing you from publishing if the system detects that it cannot run. So I have gone ahead and quickly fixed the ad to be functional enough so we can publish the campaign. Now before we publish the campaign, let's review the campaign. So here you will be able to see the skeleton that you've created for your campaign. But essentially here you can go over all of your settings again and make your changes if necessary. And then it's time to publish the campaign. So that's the basics of how you set up a demand gen campaign. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you something useful. And for now, hope to see you on the next video.